Welcome to my channel, Bookish English 2. Have you ever had a great idea in your mind, but you did not know how to turn it into a story? Maybe you feel confused. Maybe you think your English is not good enough. But what if I tell you that even a small idea can become a powerful story? Stay with me because by the end, you will learn how to write your own story step by step. Chapter 1. Your first idea is enough. There is a quiet moment that many people feel but rarely talk about. You sit with a pen, or maybe in front of your screen, and you want to write something, but your mind says, this idea is too small. You compare your thoughts with big stories, famous books, and powerful writers, and suddenly your own idea feels weak and unimportant. This is where most beginners stop. Not because they cannot write, but because they believe their idea is not enough. But let me tell you something very important, something that can change your writing journey today. You do not need a big idea to start writing. You only need a real idea, even if it feels small, simple, or ordinary. Because every powerful story in the world started from something simple, something human, something real. Think about your own life for a moment. You woke up today, you looked around your room, you maybe checked your phone, you ate something, or you talked to someone. Nothing feels special in these moments, right? But what if I tell you that inside these simple actions there are stories hiding, waiting for you to notice them? Maybe you felt tired when you woke up, maybe you felt happy after reading a message, or maybe you felt a little lost during your day. These feelings, these small moments, are not useless. They are the beginning of a story. Writing does not start with something big and dramatic. Writing starts with noticing something small and giving it meaning. Let me give you a very simple example. Imagine this sentence: I woke up late today. It looks basic, almost boring. But now, let's stay with this idea a little longer. Why did you wake up late? Maybe you were tired because you worked hard yesterday. Maybe you had a dream that made you feel strange. Maybe someone was calling you, but you did not want to answer. Now your simple idea is growing. It is becoming deeper, more human, more interesting. You can continue like this, adding small details, small feelings, small thoughts. Suddenly, what looked like nothing becomes something. This is how stories are born. Not from big ideas, but from small moments that you decide to explore. Many beginners think that writing is about imagination only. They believe that they must create something completely new, something that no one has ever seen before. This belief makes writing feel difficult and heavy, but the truth is different. Most good writing comes from real life. It comes from what you see, what you feel, and what you experience every day. Your life is already full of ideas, even if you do not see them yet. When you start trusting your own experiences, writing becomes easier. It becomes natural. You are no longer trying to invent something big. You are simply telling what you already know, but in a clear and meaningful way. There is also something else that stops people from starting. They think, my idea is too simple. People will not care. But think about this carefully. People do not connect with big ideas only. They connect with real emotions. A simple story about feeling tired, feeling happy, feeling confused, or feeling hopeful can touch someone's heart more than a big, complicated story. Why? Because it feels real. It feels honest. When you write something simple but true, people can see themselves in your words. That is the power of small ideas. They are easy to understand, and they are easy to feel. Now imagine this. You are sitting quietly, thinking that you have nothing to write. At the same time, your mind is full of small thoughts. You remember something from yesterday. You think about a conversation. You notice a feeling inside you. These are not empty thoughts. These are ideas. But because they are not loud or dramatic, you ignore them. This is the moment where you need to change your thinking. Instead of waiting for a big idea, you choose one small moment and you say, this is enough. I will start from here. This simple decision can change everything. Writing is not about starting perfectly. It is about starting honestly. When you accept that your first idea is enough, you remove the biggest pressure from your mind. You stop waiting. You stop comparing. You stop doubting yourself so much. Instead, you begin. And once you begin, something interesting happens. Your mind becomes more active. Your ideas start to grow. One sentence leads to another, and then another, and suddenly, you are writing more than you expected. This is the magic of starting small. It opens the door for bigger things, but it does not force you to begin with them. Let's take another simple example from daily life. You are drinking tea or coffee. It feels like a normal moment. But if you look closer, there is more inside it. Where are you sitting? What are you thinking? Are you alone or with someone? How do you feel in that moment? Calm, stressed, happy, or tired? Now this simple moment becomes a small story. You can describe the place, your thoughts, your feelings. You can even add a memory or a small dream. Without trying too hard, you are already writing something meaningful. This is what beginners need to understand. You do not need to search for ideas far away. Your ideas are already with you. As you continue your writing journey, you will start to see things differently. A simple walk becomes a story. A short conversation becomes a story. Even your silence becomes a story. But this change does not happen if you keep waiting for something big. It happens when you accept small ideas and give them value. When you respect your own thoughts, even the simple ones, you become a writer. Not because your ideas are big, but because you are willing to start with what you have. So, take a moment right now and ask yourself a simple question. What happened to me today? Do not look for something special. Just pick one small moment. Maybe it is how you woke up, how you felt, or what you noticed. That is your idea. That is your starting point, and that is enough. You do not need more than this to begin your writing journey. Pound. And now think about this question and keep it in your mind as we move forward. What if your simple daily moment is already a story waiting to be written? Chapter 2. Stop waiting to be perfect. There is a silent voice inside many learners, and it speaks very softly but very strongly at the same time. It says, "Wait a little more. You are not ready yet." You may not even notice it clearly, but it controls your actions. You open your notebook, you think about writing something, and then you stop. You tell yourself that your English is not good enough, your grammar is not strong, and your sentences may look wrong. So you wait. You wait for better vocabulary. You wait for more confidence. You wait for the day when everything feels perfect. But that day does not come, and slowly, without realizing it, you stop trying. This is how perfection becomes the biggest enemy of beginners. It does not shout, it does not force you, but it quietly stops you from starting. Now let me ask you something very simple, and I want you to think about it honestly. How can you become better at writing if you never write? It sounds obvious, but many people forget this truth. Improvement does not come from waiting, it comes from doing. When you write, even with mistakes, your brain starts learning. It starts connecting words, building patterns, and understanding how sentences work. But when you wait for perfection, your brain stays passive. It does not grow, because you are not giving it a chance to practice. This is why starting imperfectly is not a weakness. It is the only real way to improve. Many beginners feel afraid of making mistakes in English. They think that mistakes are something bad, something to hide or avoid. They imagine someone reading their writing and judging them, and this fear becomes so strong that they choose silence instead of action. But what if you change the meaning of mistakes in your mind? What if mistakes are not proof that you are bad, but proof that you are trying? Every mistake shows that you are learning something new. It shows that you are moving forward, even if the steps are small and sometimes uncertain. When you stop fearing mistakes, you remove a heavy weight from your mind, and suddenly writing feels lighter, easier, and more possible. Let me share a simple story with you, something very real and very close to what many learners experience. There was a student who wanted to improve his English writing. but he always felt nervous. Every time he tried to write, he stopped after one or two sentences. He would look at his words, see small mistakes, and think, "This is not good. I should wait and learn more first." Days passed, then weeks, and nothing changed. One day he made a small decision. He said to himself, "I will write every day, even if it is not perfect." So he started writing just a few sentences daily. Sometimes his grammar was wrong, sometimes his spelling was not correct, sometimes his sentences felt strange, but he did not stop. After a few days, something interesting happened. He started to feel more comfortable. Writing did not feel as scary as before. After a few weeks, his sentences became clearer. He began to notice his mistakes and correct them naturally. After 1 month, he looked back at his old writing and felt surprised. It was not perfect, but it was much better than before. The most important thing was not that he became perfect. The most important thing was that he started. That small decision, to write without waiting for perfection, changed everything for him. And it can change everything for you too. When you wait for perfect English, you are chasing something that does not exist, especially at the beginning. Even advanced learners make mistakes. Even native speakers make mistakes. Perfection is not a starting point. It is not even a destination. It is an illusion that makes you feel that you are not ready. But the truth is simple. You are ready right now, not because your English is perfect, but because you are willing to try. That is all you need to begin. There is also another important thing to understand. When you allow yourself to write imperfectly, you give yourself freedom. You are no longer trapped by fear. You are no longer checking every word again and again before writing the next one. You write more naturally, more honestly, and more freely. This freedom is very powerful because it helps you express your thoughts without pressure. And when you express your thoughts, your English grows. Slowly, step by step, your mistakes become fewer, your sentences become stronger, and your confidence becomes real. Imagine two learners. One is waiting for the perfect moment, studying grammar again and again, but never writing. The other is writing every day, making mistakes, learning from them, and improving little by little. After 1 month, who do you think will be better? The answer is clear. The one who started, even imperfectly, will move forward. The one who waited will stay in the same place. This is the difference between action and hesitation. This is the difference between growth and stagnation. Now, I want you to think about your own journey. How many times did you stop yourself because you felt your English was not good enough? How many ideas did you ignore because you were afraid they would not sound perfect? All those moments were not failures, they were chances to start. And you can still take those chances today. You do not need to wait anymore. You do not need permission. You only need to begin, even if your sentences are simple, even if they are not perfect. So the next time you sit down to write, remember this. Your goal is not to be perfect. Your goal is to express. Write what you think, write what you feel, write what you see. Let your sentences be simple, let your grammar grow slowly, and let your mistakes guide you. Because every mistake is a teacher, and every sentence you write is a step forward. And now, hold this question in your mind as we continue this journey. If you wait for perfect English, you may never start. So what should you do instead? Chapter 3. Build simple sentences first. There is a moment when every beginner feels stuck, not because they have no ideas, but because they do not know how to turn those ideas into clear sentences. You may have many thoughts in your mind, you may feel something strongly, you may want to write. But when you try to start, everything becomes confusing. You begin to think about grammar rules, long sentences, difficult words, and suddenly writing feels heavy again. This is where many people make a mistake. They try to do too much at the beginning. They try to sound advanced before they learn to be simple. But real writing does not begin with complexity. It begins with clarity. It begins with simple sentences that are easy to understand, easy to build, and easy to connect. Simple sentences are not weak. They are strong, clear, and powerful, especially for beginners. When you use simple sentences, you give your mind space to think. You are not fighting with grammar rules all the time. You are not worrying about making everything perfect. Instead, you focus on one thing at a time. You focus on meaning. This is why simple sentences are the foundation of writing. They help you express your thoughts without pressure, and they help you build confidence step by step. Let's start with something very basic. You can begin your sentences with simple words like I, he, she, or they. These are your starting tools. For example, I wake up early. This is a complete sentence. It is clear, it is correct, and it has meaning. You do not need to add anything more to make it valuable. Now you can add another sentence. I drink tea in the morning. Again, simple, clear, and easy. Then one more. I feel calm when I sit alone. Now you have 3 sentences. They are not complicated, but they are real. They describe a small part of your life, and that is enough. Many learners think they need long sentences to sound good, but this is not true. Long sentences often create confusion when you are still learning. Simple sentences help you stay in control. You know what you are writing. You understand your own words. This feeling of control is very important. When you feel in control, you do not feel afraid. When you do not feel afraid, you write more. And when you write more, you improve naturally. Now let's look at how thoughts become sentences. Inside your mind, your thoughts are not always clear. They move fast, they change quickly, and sometimes they feel mixed. But when you write, you slow them down. You take one thought and turn it into one sentence. For example, you think, I am tired today. That is your first sentence. Then you think, I did a lot of work. That becomes your second sentence. Then you think, I want to rest. That becomes your third sentence. You are not trying to say everything at once. You are taking one idea, one moment, one feeling, and giving it a clear form. Let's make it even more real. Imagine your day. You wake up, you check your phone, you get ready, and you go outside. These are normal actions. Now turn them into sentences. I wake up at 8. I check my phone. I get ready for the day. I go outside. These sentences may look very simple, but they are your building blocks. With these small pieces, you can create something bigger. You are learning how to take your life and express it in English, one sentence at a time. There is also something important happening inside your brain when you write like this. You are training your mind to think in English. Instead of translating long and complex ideas, you are using direct, simple thoughts. This makes your writing faster and more natural. You do not stop again and again to think about grammar. You move forward. You keep writing. This flow is very important because it helps you build confidence and rhythm in your writing. Now, let's take those simple sentences and connect them. This is where something exciting begins. When you connect simple sentences, you create a small story. For example, I wake up early. I drink tea. I feel calm. These are 3 simple sentences, but together they show a moment, a feeling, a small story. You can understand it easily. You can feel it. And the best part is, you created it without using difficult words or complicated structures. You can also add a little more detail without making it too hard. I wake up early in the morning. I drink tea near the window. I feel calm and peaceful. Now your sentences are still simple, but they have more life. You are not trying to impress anyone. You are trying to express something real. That is the true purpose of writing. Many beginners feel surprised when they see how much they can write with simple sentences. They think they need advanced English, but then they realize that they can already say a lot with what they know. This realization is very powerful. It changes how you see yourself. You are no longer someone who cannot write. You are someone who can express ideas, even if they are simple. As you continue practicing, your sentences will grow naturally. You will start adding more details, more connections, and more variety. But you do not need to rush this process. Right now, your focus is simple. Build clear sentences, one by one, step by step. This is how strong writing begins, not with big words, but with clear thoughts. Let's return to your own experience. Think about something that happened today. Maybe you had breakfast, maybe you talked to someone, or maybe you felt something strong. Now break it into simple sentences. Do not worry about perfection. Do not try to sound advanced. Just write what you can. You will see that it is possible. You will feel that you are in control. And that feeling will push you to continue. This is your foundation. This is your starting point. When you learn to build simple sentences, you are not doing something small. You are building the base of your entire writing journey. Every great writer, every strong speaker, started here, with simple sentences, simple thoughts, and simple beginnings. And now, think about this question carefully, because it will open the next step for you. What happens when you connect just 3 simple sentences together? Chapter 4. Turn sentences into a story. Now something beautiful begins to happen. Until this point, you have learned that your idea is enough, that you do not need perfection, and that simple sentences can help you start. But now you may be asking a very important question. I can write sentences, but how do I turn them into a story? This is where many beginners feel nervous again. They think a story must be big, dramatic, or very clever. They imagine long books, difficult plots, and beautiful language, and then they look at their own short sentences and feel that they are too small. But the truth is much kinder than that. A story is not magic. A story is simply connected sentences with meaning and emotion. That is all. When one sentence leads to the next, and when those sentences carry a feeling or a small change, a story begins to live. This idea should bring you relief, because it means story writing is not far away from you. It is not a special gift for only a few people. It is something you can do, step by step, with the language you already know. If you can write one clear sentence, then another clear sentence, and then connect them in a natural way, you are already moving towards story writing. The goal is not to sound advanced. The goal is to make the reader follow your thoughts from one moment to the next. A story is a journey, even a very small one, and every journey starts with one step. Let us think about how sentences connect logically. This sounds like a big phrase, but it is actually very simple. One sentence should help the next sentence make sense. For example, if you write, "I woke up late today," your reader will naturally want to know what happened next. Then you write, "I missed my bus." That makes sense, because waking up late can lead to missing a bus. Then you write, "I felt stressed all morning." This also makes sense, because missing the bus can cause stress. These are not difficult sentences, but they are connected. One leads to the next in a natural way. That connection is one of the first signs of a story. Many beginners write sentences that are correct but disconnected. For example, "I woke up late." "The sky is blue." "My friend likes tea." Each sentence may be fine by itself, but together they do not create a clear path. The reader feels lost, because the ideas do not belong together. To build a story, your sentences need to hold hands. They need to move in one direction. They do not have to be perfect, but they should feel related. When this happens, your writing starts to feel alive. Now let us make this even easier by looking at the simple shape of a story. A beginner does not need a complicated structure. You only need 3 basic parts: a beginning, a middle, and an ending. The beginning shows the situation, the middle shows a change, a problem, or an action, The ending shows the result, the feeling, or what happened after. That is enough. This simple form can help you write many small stories from your real life. Imagine this tiny story. Beginning, I was walking home after school. Middle, suddenly it started to rain, and I had no umbrella. Ending, I ran home, laughing and completely wet. Look at this carefully. The language is simple. The sentences are not long or difficult, but together, they create a moment. You can see it. You can feel it. There is movement, there is emotion, and there is a clear ending. That is a story. Not a big one, but a real one. This is why writing can become exciting. You begin to see that stories are not far from your daily life. They are hidden in your normal moments. A missed bus, a rainy walk, a lost key, a kind message, a quiet evening, a cup of tea, a difficult morning. These things may look small, but when you connect them with clear sentences and a little feeling, they become stories. Suddenly, writing no longer feels impossible. It feels possible, and maybe even enjoyable. Let us build a very small story together, step by step, so you can see exactly how it works. First, we start with one simple sentence. I found an old photo in my room. This is our beginning. It gives us a situation. Something happened. It is small, but it creates curiosity. What photo? Why is it important? Now we add a middle sentence. When I looked at it, I remembered my childhood friend. Now the story is moving. The photo is not just an object. It brings a memory. It creates emotion. Then we add an ending sentence. I smiled and decided to call him after many years. Now we have a full small story. 3 sentences, that is all. But those 3 sentences have meaning, movement, and feeling. Do you see what happened there? The first sentence opened a door. The second sentence gave emotional depth. The third sentence gave change and resolution. This is the heart of storytelling. It does not always need many pages. Sometimes it only needs a few honest lines. When beginners understand this, fear starts to disappear. They stop saying, I cannot write stories, and they start saying, maybe I can. Emotion is also very important here. A story is not only connected action, it is connected feeling too. If you only say what happened, your writing may be clear, but it may not feel alive. For example, I lost my notebook. I went back to school. I found it. This is understandable, but now compare it with this. I lost my notebook and felt worried. I went back to school with a fast heart. When I found it under my desk, I felt great relief. The second version still uses simple language, but it has more life because it includes emotion. Readers do not only want events, they want human feeling. That feeling is what makes a story stay in the heart. This does not mean you need dramatic emotion every time. Even small feelings matter. Feeling shy, tired, calm, happy, confused, proud, or hopeful can all make your writing stronger. In fact, small emotions are often more real, and because they are real, they connect with people more deeply. You do not need to write like a novelist right now. You just need to tell a small truth, with clear steps and simple emotion. As you practice this more, you will begin to notice stories everywhere. A conversation with your mother, a mistake at work, a memory from school, a day when you felt strong, a day when you almost gave up. All of these can become stories. Once you understand how to connect sentences logically, and once you understand the simple flow of beginning, middle, and ending, writing becomes less frightening. It becomes a skill you can build with patience, not a mystery you must solve all at once. So when you sit down to write, do not tell yourself that you need a big plot or a perfect plan. Ask yourself 3 simple questions instead. What happened first? What happened next? How did it end? Or how did I feel? These questions can guide you gently. They can help you move from one sentence to the next without confusion. And little by little, your writing will become more natural, more emotional, and more confident. Now hold this question in your mind, because it will lead you into the next step of your writing journey. Can 3 simple sentences really become a story? Let's see. Chapter 5. Use your real life for writing. There is something very powerful that many beginners do not realize at the start of their journey. They keep searching for ideas outside, in books, in movies, in other people's stories, and they forget to look at their own life. They think their life is too simple, too normal, or not interesting enough to write about. But the truth is completely different. Your life is your best content. Everything you see, everything you feel, and everything you do already has meaning. You do not need to create a new world to become a writer. You only need to observe your own world more carefully, and then express it with simple, honest sentences. Think about your day again, but this time, do not look at it as something ordinary. Look at it as a collection of moments. You wake up, maybe feeling fresh, or maybe feeling tired. You hear sounds around you. You see light coming into your room. You think about what you need to do. Then you move into your routine. You wash your face. You eat something. You check your phone, or you talk to someone. These are not just actions. These are pieces of a story. When you describe them, even in simple English, you are already writing something real, and real writing is always stronger than forced imagination. Many beginners struggle when they try to imagine stories that are far from their experience. They try to write about things they do not fully understand, and this makes writing difficult and slow. Their sentences become heavy, and their ideas feel unclear. But when you write about your real life, something changes. You already know what happened. You already know how you felt. You do not need to guess or pretend. This makes writing easier, faster, and more natural. You are not inventing. You are expressing. And expression is always more powerful than forced creation. Let's take a simple example from daily routine. You can write, I wake up at 7. I feel sleepy. I drink tea and slowly start my day. These are very simple sentences, but they show a real moment. Now you can add a little more detail. I wake up at 7, but I feel very sleepy. I sit quietly and drink tea. Slowly, I start to feel better. Now your writing has more life. It shows a small change, a small feeling, a small movement. This is how real life becomes writing. You are not trying to impress anyone. You are simply telling the truth of your moment. There is also something very important happening inside you when you write like this. You begin to feel connected to your own words. You are not copying someone else's style. You are not trying to sound like a book. You are speaking in your own voice. This creates authenticity, and authenticity is what makes writing feel human. When your writing is real, people can feel it. Even if your English is simple, your message becomes strong because it is honest. Let's think about feelings now. Your day is not only actions, it is also full of emotions. Maybe you felt happy when someone smiled at you. Maybe you felt stressed when you had too much work. Maybe you felt calm when you were alone. These feelings are very important for writing. When you include them, your sentences become more than information. They become experience. For example, instead of saying, I went to work, you can say, I went to work, but I felt tired and a little stressed. This small change makes your writing more alive. It shows your inner world, not just your actions. Another reason why real-life writing is powerful is that it builds confidence. When you write about familiar topics, you do not feel lost. You know what to say. You know what happened. This gives you control, and when you feel in control, you write more freely. You are not stopping every second to think about what comes next. Your ideas flow naturally, because they come from your own experience. This is very important for beginners, because confidence is not built by writing perfect sentences. It is built by writing consistently, even with simple ideas. Let me share a small example again, something very simple but meaningful. Imagine you had a quiet evening. You can write, I sat in my room in the evening. I looked outside the window. The sky was soft and calm. I felt peaceful. This is not a big story, but it is real. It shows a moment, a feeling, and a small connection between you and your environment. This kind of writing trains your mind to notice details, and those details are the heart of storytelling. Sometimes learners think that real life is boring, but this is only because they are not looking closely. When you start observing carefully, everything becomes interesting. A short walk becomes a story. A cup of tea becomes a story. A small conversation becomes a story. Even silence can become a story if you describe what you felt in that silence. Writing is not about finding something big. It is about seeing something small in a deeper way. There is also another benefit of using real life for writing. It helps you think in English. When you describe your own actions and feelings directly, you do not need to translate complex ideas from your first language. You use simple, direct thoughts. I am tired. I feel happy. I am walking. These are natural English thoughts. When you practice this daily, your brain becomes faster. You begin to think and write in English without stopping too much. This is a big step in your learning journey. Now imagine your progress after a few weeks of writing like this. At the beginning, you write 3 or 4 simple sentences about your day. Then slowly, you add more details. You include feelings, small changes, and small observations. Your writing grows, not because you forced it, but because you stayed consistent. You trusted your own life as your source. You did not wait for a big idea. You used what you already had, and this is how real improvement happens. Let's return to something important. You are not trying to become perfect. You are trying to become expressive. You are learning how to take your real experiences and turn them into words. This is a skill, and like any skill, it grows with practice. Every time you write about your day, your thoughts, or your feelings, you are training your mind. You are building your voice. And slowly, your writing becomes stronger, clearer, and more confident. So the next time you think, I have nothing to write, stop and look again. Your life is full of content. Your morning, your afternoon, your evening, your thoughts, your feelings, your small experiences, all of these are ideas. All of these can become stories. You do not need anything extra. You only need attention, honesty, and the courage to start. And now, keep this question in your mind as you move forward, because it may change how you see your entire day. What if your daily routine is already your best story idea? Chapter 6. Add emotion to your writing. There is a small difference between writing that people forget and writing that people feel, and that difference is emotion. You can write clear sentences, you can describe actions, and everything may be correct, but something may still feel missing. The reader understands your words, but they do not feel connected to them. This happens when writing has no emotion. Words alone can give information, but emotions give life. When you add feeling to your writing, even simple sentences become powerful, and even small stories become memorable. This is where your writing begins to touch the heart, not just the mind. Many beginners think that emotion is something complicated, something poetic or advanced. But that is not true. Emotion can be very simple. You do not need big vocabulary or deep expressions. You only need honest words. Words like happy, sad, tired, excited, nervous, calm, or worried are enough. These are basic words, but they carry strong meaning. When you use them in the right moment, they change your sentence completely. They turn a plain description into a human experience. And that is what makes writing interesting. Let's look at a very simple example. I went to the park. This sentence is clear, and it tells us what happened. But now read this. I went to the park and felt very calm. The second sentence gives us more than information. It gives us a feeling. We can imagine the person sitting quietly, maybe enjoying the air, maybe thinking about something peaceful. The action is the same, but the emotion makes it deeper. Now the sentence is not just about going somewhere. It is about how that moment felt. This is how emotion strengthens your writing. It helps the reader connect with your experience. When someone reads your words and feels something, even a small feeling, your writing becomes meaningful. It does not matter if your English is simple. It does not matter if your sentences are short. What matters is that your words carry feeling, because people remember feelings more than facts. They may forget what you did, but they will remember how it felt. Now let's go a little deeper. Imagine you write, I lost my keys. This is a simple sentence, but it feels incomplete. Now add emotion. I lost my keys and felt very worried. Suddenly, the situation becomes more real. We understand the problem better. We can imagine the stress, the confusion, the search. Now add one more detail. I lost my keys and felt very worried because I could not enter my home. Now the sentence has context, feeling, and meaning. This is the power of emotion. It builds connection step by step. Sometimes learners think that writing should sound smart, so they focus only on grammar and vocabulary. They try to use new words, they try to build longer sentences, but they forget the human side of writing. This is why their writing may look correct, but it feels empty. When you focus only on structure, you lose emotion. And when you lose emotion, your writing loses its power. So instead of trying to sound advanced, try to sound real. Use the words you know, but use them honestly. Let's compare another example. I finished my work. This sentence is fine, but it feels neutral. Now read this. I finished my work and felt proud. The second sentence carries emotion. It shows effort. It shows achievement. It shows a personal moment. You can feel the difference. Now one more version. I finished my work after many hours, and I felt proud and relaxed. Now the sentence tells a small story. It shows struggle, effort, and relief. All of this comes from adding simple emotional words. Emotion also helps your story move forward. It shows change. A good story is not just about what happens. It is about how feelings change. For example, you can start with, I felt nervous before my presentation. Then continue, I spoke slowly and tried to stay calm. And then, at the end, I felt happy and confident. These sentences are simple, but they show a journey, from nervous to confident, from fear to comfort. This emotional change is what makes a story interesting, even if the situation is very normal. You can also use emotion to make your writing more personal. When you write about your own feelings, your words become unique. No one else feels exactly like you. No one else experiences things in the same way. So when you write, "I felt lonely in the evening," or "I felt excited when I heard the news," you are sharing something real. This creates authenticity, and authenticity is what makes readers trust your writing and connect with it. Let's think about your daily routine again. You wake up, you eat, you go outside, you talk to people. These actions are simple, but your feelings make them different every day. One day you may feel tired, another day you may feel energetic. One day you may feel happy, another day you may feel quiet or thoughtful. When you include these feelings in your writing, your routine becomes a story. Without emotion, it is just a list of actions. With emotion, it becomes a human experience. There is also something important to remember. You do not need to use emotion in every single sentence. That can feel heavy and unnatural. Instead, choose the right moments. Add feeling where it matters. Let your writing breathe. A mix of simple action and simple emotion creates balance. It keeps your writing clear, but also alive. You are not trying to force emotion. You are letting it appear naturally, just like it does in real life. As you continue writing, you will begin to notice something. Your sentences will feel warmer. Your stories will feel more complete, and you will feel more connected to your own writing. This is because emotion is not only for the reader, it is also for you. When you write about your feelings, you understand yourself better. You reflect on your experiences, and this makes your writing journey more meaningful, not just educational. Now, let's return to a simple but powerful idea. You do not need advanced English to write something strong. You only need simple words with real feeling. I felt happy. I felt sad. I felt excited. These may look basic, but they carry emotion, and when you place them in the right moment, they can change your entire story. Never underestimate simple emotional words. They are small, but they are powerful. So the next time you write, ask yourself a small question. What did I feel in this moment? Add that feeling to your sentence. Let it be simple, let it be honest, and let it be real. This one step can transform your writing from plain to powerful. And now, think about this carefully as we move forward. Why do some simple stories feel powerful while others feel boring? Chapter 7. Practice every day, even small. There is a quiet truth that many learners discover late, and by the time they understand it, they often wish they had started earlier. It is not talent, it is not intelligence, and it is not even time that creates real progress. It is consistency, small, repeated effort, simple actions done again and again. Many beginners believe they need long study hours or big writing sessions to improve, but that belief can actually stop them from starting. They wait for the perfect time, the free day, the moment when they feel ready to write a lot. But life is busy, energy is limited, and that perfect moment rarely comes. This is why practicing every day, even in a very small way, is more powerful than doing a lot once in a while. Imagine two learners. One writes for 2 hours on Sunday, then stops for the rest of the week. The other writes just 5 sentences every day. At first, the first learner feels more productive. 2 hours sounds serious. It feels like real effort. But after a few weeks, something different becomes clear. The second learner has built a habit. Writing is now part of their daily life. It is not something special or heavy. It is something normal. And because it is normal, it continues. This is the power of small daily practice. It does not feel big, but it grows over time. Now think about your own day. You may feel busy, or maybe you feel tired after work or study. You may think, I do not have time to write a full story. That is okay. You do not need to write a full story every day. You only need to write a few sentences. 3 to 5 sentences are enough. This is not a big task. It does not take much time. It does not require a lot of energy, but it creates movement. It keeps your writing alive. It keeps your brain active. And most importantly, it builds your habit. Let's make this real. Imagine you sit down at night and write 5 simple sentences about your day. I woke up early today. I felt a little tired. I went outside and saw the sun. I talked to my friend. I felt happy in the evening. These sentences are not perfect, but they are real. You wrote them. You expressed something. And that is what matters. The next day you do the same. Maybe the sentences are different. Maybe the feeling is different. But the action is the same. You are showing up. You are practicing. At the beginning, it may feel small. You may think, this is not enough. But do not let that thought stop you. Small steps repeated daily become something big over time. After 1 week, you have written many sentences. After 2 weeks, you feel more comfortable. After 1 month, you start to notice a change. Your sentences become clearer. Your thoughts become faster. Your confidence becomes stronger. All of this comes from doing something small, but doing it regularly. Building a habit is not about pushing yourself too hard. It is about making something easy enough to continue. When writing feels too heavy, you avoid it. When it feels simple and manageable, you return to it again and again. This is why daily practice should be small. It should fit into your life without stress. You are not trying to become perfect in 1 day. You are trying to become better over many days. There is also something very important happening inside your mind when you practice daily. Writing becomes familiar. It stops feeling like a difficult task. It becomes something you can do without fear. Your brain learns patterns. It becomes faster at forming sentences. It becomes more comfortable with English. This is not because you studied more rules, but because you used the language more often. Practice creates familiarity, and familiarity creates confidence. Now let's talk about progress. Many learners feel discouraged because they cannot see big results quickly. They write 1 day, then another day, and it feels like nothing has changed. But progress is not always loud. It is often quiet. It happens slowly. That is why it is important to notice small improvements. Maybe today your sentence is clearer than yesterday. Maybe today you used a new word. Maybe today you wrote without stopping too much. These are small wins, but they matter. When you notice them, you feel motivated. When you feel motivated, you continue. You can even track your progress in a simple way. Keep your sentences in one place. After a week, go back and read what you wrote. You may see mistakes, but you will also see improvement. After a month, the difference will be even clearer. What once felt difficult now feels easier. What once felt confusing now feels natural. This is how growth looks. Not perfect, not fast, but real and steady. Celebrating small progress is also very important. Many learners only celebrate big success, but big success comes from many small steps. When you write your 5 sentences, take a moment to feel good about it. You did something. You showed discipline. You moved forward. This positive feeling helps your brain connect writing with success, not with stress. And when writing feels positive, you will want to do it again. Let's imagine something together. You write just 5 sentences every day for 30 days. That is not a big task. It may take 10 minutes or less, but after 30 days, you will have written 150 sentences. Think about that. 150 sentences in English, written by you. That is not small anymore. That is real progress. That is proof that you are becoming a writer, step by step. There will be days when you feel tired. There will be days when you do not feel motivated. That is normal. On those days, do not try to do more. Just do the minimum. Write your 3 sentences, or even just 1 if needed. The goal is not perfection. The goal is continuity. When you keep going, even on difficult days, you build strength. You prove to yourself that you can continue. no matter how you feel. This journey is not about writing something perfect once. It is about writing something simple every day. Over time, those simple actions create something powerful. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to see your progress. And most importantly, you begin to enjoy the process. So remember this clearly. You do not need long hours. You do not need perfect conditions. You only need a small daily action, 3 to 5 sentences, every day. That is enough to change your writing. And now, hold this question in your mind as you continue your journey. What will happen if you write just 5 sentences every day for 30 days? Chapter 8. Your first story is ready. There is a quiet moment in every learning journey when everything starts to feel different. At the beginning, you were unsure. You had ideas, but you did not trust them. You wanted to write, but you did not know how to begin. You worried about mistakes. You waited for perfection. And sometimes you felt that writing in English was too difficult for you. But now, if you look back for a moment, you will see something powerful. You have changed, step by step, without rushing, without pressure. You learned how to take a simple idea, turn it into sentences, connect those sentences, and add emotion to them. You learned to write from your real life, and you practiced consistently, even when it felt small. And now, something beautiful is waiting for you. Your first story. This is not just another step. This is a moment of realization. You are no longer someone who is only thinking about writing. You are someone who can actually write. You may still feel that your English is simple, and that is completely fine. Simple does not mean weak. Simple means clear, honest, and real. And that is exactly what a good story needs. You do not need big words or complex sentences to create something meaningful. You only need to bring together everything you have learned so far and trust yourself enough to begin. Let's take a deep breath and look at your journey again. But this time, see it with new eyes. You started with the idea that even a small thought is enough. That was your first step. Then you understood that waiting for perfection only stops you, so you allowed yourself to write freely. After that, you learned how to build simple sentences, one by one, without fear. Then you discovered how to connect those sentences into a story, using a beginning, a middle, and an ending. You began to use your real life as your content, which made your writing natural and easy. You added emotion, which gave your words life and meaning. And finally, you practiced every day, even if it was just a few sentences. This is not a small journey. This is a transformation. Now imagine this. You sit down with your notebook or your screen, and instead of feeling lost, you feel ready. You do not need to search for a big idea, because you already know that your daily life is enough. Maybe you choose a simple moment. You remember a morning when you felt tired but hopeful. You remember a short conversation that made you smile. You remember a small problem that you solved. That is your story. You do not need more than this. You begin with a simple sentence. Yesterday, I felt very tired when I woke up. That is your beginning. It is clear, and it shows a feeling. Then you continue. I had a lot of work to do, and I felt a little stressed. Now your story is moving. There is a situation, and there is emotion. Then you write, but I started slowly, and step by step, I finished my work. This is your middle. It shows action and progress. Then you add your ending. At the end of the day, I felt proud and relaxed. Now look at what you have. A complete story, simple, honest, and real. You created it. This moment is important because it changes how you see yourself. You are no longer someone who says, I cannot write. You are someone who says, I can write my story. That shift in thinking is powerful. It builds confidence, and confidence leads to more action. When you believe that you can do something, you are more willing to try again, to improve, and to grow. There may still be a small voice inside you that says, this is too simple. But remember what you have learned. Simple is not the problem. In fact, simple is your strength right now. It helps you stay clear, it helps you stay focused, and most importantly, It helps you keep moving forward. Over time, your writing will grow naturally. Your sentences will become richer, your ideas will become deeper, and your stories will become longer. But none of that can happen if you do not start. And now, you are ready to start. Take another moment and think about how you felt at the very beginning of this journey. Maybe you felt confused. Maybe you felt unsure. Maybe you thought that writing in English was something far away from you. But now, you have tools, you have understanding, you have practice, and most importantly, you have experience. You have already written sentences. You have already created small stories. That means you are not at the beginning anymore. You have moved forward. This is also the time to trust yourself more. Do not wait for someone to tell you that you are ready. You are ready because you have taken action. You are ready because you have learned step by step. And you are ready because you are willing to try. Writing is not about being perfect. It is about being brave enough to express something real. Now I want you to do something very simple, but very important. Today, not tomorrow, not next week, but today, write your first complete story. It does not need to be long. It does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be yours. Choose one small moment from your life. Write a beginning, a middle, and an ending. Add a little feeling. Keep your sentences simple. And most importantly, finish it. When you finish your first story, you will feel something different. You will feel proud, you will feel confident, and you will feel that this is just the start. As you continue this journey, remember that every story you write is a step forward. Some stories will feel better than others. Some will be simple. Some will be a little stronger. That is okay. Growth is not always perfect. It is a process. And you are already inside that process. So take a moment, look at yourself honestly, and ask this question. You started with confusion, but now, can you see what you have become? Now it's your turn. Don't wait. Take a simple idea from your life and write your first story today. Even if it is small, it matters. Write it in the comments so I can read it and support you. If you want to improve your English step by step, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it with a friend. Your writing journey starts now, and I will be here with you.